Welcome back. Happy Friday. It is the 5 Reasons Gambling Show for May 19th on the a few hours before Heat Celtics Game 2. We're excited about that. Lots of content all throughout the day on 5 Reasons Sports, YouTube, 5 Reasons pod feeds, all those different things. Lots of content for that game tonight. But we're going to talk first about Bettor Edge, one of the sponsors of 5 Reasons Sports. It's my favorite place to put down bets. It is a social betting platform, peer-to-peer. You're not betting with the book. There is no fees. There is no VIG. It is simply betting against other people across the country. It is legal in basically every state across the country. So make sure you check that out. If you use our code 5REASONS, 5RSN, 5RSN is the code. It'll get you $20 from 5 Reasons Sports. And when you sign up, you can use that for whatever you want on the marketplace. You can join our competition. We'll talk about that later today. It is a great opportunity for you to get a nice bonus from 5 Reasons to get you started, and then you can roll it from there all throughout that betting platform. It has every sport. WNBA tips off tonight. They got a WNBA marketplace, NFL, college football, NHL, NBA, college basketball, golf, NASCAR, everything. Props. It's an incredible platform. So make sure you check it out. Bettor Edge, use the code 5RSN. All right, so we're going to jump in today's show, talk a little bit about last night, Nuggets-Lakers Game 2. I will be honest, I fell asleep and woke up to a surprising result when I saw that the Nuggets had came back. I thought that they were going to probably take it down. I bet on the Nuggets, and that's where we're going to start with a bad beat. Because if you listened to yesterday's show, I took the Nuggets minus 5.5 in our competition. And if you know anything about how that game ended, as the Nuggets took over the lead, they ended up winning 108-103. So I lost by the hook. They had multiple opportunities to cover. The Lakers continually found like an Austin Reeves 3 with 13 seconds left. I think a LeBron James layup with around 20 seconds left. All you need them to do is to miss one of those shots. Lakers foul, make free throws, and you cash that ticket. Vegas is pretty good at setting those lines, and obviously it fell right on the number, losing by the hook. Nuggets minus 5.5, so that's my bad beat of the night. And I believe, if you remember the night before in Game 1, 2 nights before, I should say, it also, I think, was a loss by the hook in that series. So the number in that Western Conference Finals series has been very accurate in terms of the bookmakers. So we'll move forward, get out of the bad beats, talk about the good stuff, scouting our competition for tonight on Bettor Edge. It is another Game 2 competition, $5 to join. We keep it cheap. It's easy for you to jump in if you've never done it before. Very easy. Heat Celtics Game 2. Pick 12 sides, totals, or props from tonight's game. We have the spread, we have the total, and then lots of props. Rebounds, assists, threes, blocks, points. Everything is in there. Lots of options from all the big guys. And basically pick 12. If you beat me, you win. So if one person beats me, they get all the pot. Looks like somebody I just made this like 5 minutes ago. Jay Boris must think I'm a terrible gambler. So he already jumped in there to try to get some money. You can join in too. If multiple people beat me, then they split the pot based on, how many people beat me. So opportunity for you to make some money. I was hot for about 2 weeks, and now I have gone cold, and I have not won a competition here in probably a week, which is disappointing because I'm just donating money away from Bettor Edge. But I'm going to go through my card, and that's the advantage you have, is that I am willing to come on and give you my picks so you can either follow or fade. If you want to beat me, obviously you can only follow so many of them because you don't want to tie. But I'm going to run through my card. I'm not going to break down every single pick because I know that can be a little bit overwhelming at times. But my favorite play, and I played this last night, is the under 215.5. If we're looking at a trend, the last game in Game 1, it went over. It flew over. 239 was the total. The over-under was 212.5, so it wasn't even close. I think the over went in the third quarter, if I remember correctly. So what are you betting on? Are you betting on that the game is going to be the same? Because if so, then we should have an easy over. If you look at the total, 215.5, so basically 3 points higher than the Game 1 total. Here's some trends, and I shared this in yesterday's game relating to the Lakers and Nuggets. In Game 2, after a Game 1 over, the under is 41-26, which is 69.7%. And I have to update that. That's actually 42-26 now because the Lakers Nuggets went under yesterday over the last 5 years. 70% trend data. Again, trend data doesn't always mean it's just going to happen every single time. Otherwise, we would all be getting rich on sports betting. But it does give you an idea. There's going to be adjustments tonight, probably from more of the Joe Mazzulla camp, but you can't eliminate the idea that Spo could come out and adjust things too. He can certainly adjust to whatever Mazzulla does. We're going to talk about one of the adjustments I think is coming, and that's going to relate to our player props. But I'm going the under 215.5, and that is my favorite play of the day, especially if you subscribe to what it seems like everybody thinks is that the Celtics are going to win, and it could be a convincing game. You could have guys subbing out in the fourth quarter, and then you're relying on Sam Hauser and Luke Cornett and Omer Yurtseven to push you over. And I would not want to be in that camp in the fourth quarter, trying to rely on those guys to make baskets. So under 215.5, that's my favorite play of the day. Next play, and it pains me to say this, but ultimately, if you're going to be good at sports betting, and I'm striving to do that, doesn't mean that I am, you have to remove your connection, your emotions, your fandom. And I'm going to go with the Celtics -9. And the reason I do this is, again, trend data. And I just think that it is a difficult spot if you remove all the data for the Heat to get two in Boston. Boston's going to have everything behind them. They know they have to win this game. They cannot go down 0-2 going to Miami. They're at home. The Heat got one, and I don't feel like, a lot of people say, well, the Heat got one. They're not going to come out here and go hard. That's not how Miami plays. They're going to go out here and try to get game two. But it's going to be difficult because the Celtics know what they face. This is going to be the hardest game for the Heat to take so far this postseason. They competed in game two in New York after getting game one. In game two in Milwaukee, however, they got blown out. And that was a game without Giannis where the Bucks really leaned into three-point shooting and they just tore them up. I'm going Celtics -9. I will be happily wrong if this is a Heat win. But here's some data. Home teams in game two this postseason, 11-1 against the spread. This season, after losing game one, teams are 7-0 straight up, 6-1 against the spread. Over the last 3 years, home teams in game two, 35-7 against the spread. And in that same time period, the last 3 years, teams down 0-1 after losing game one at home, 16-2 against the spread. Last year, we won game one, lost game two by 25. This time it was on our home floor to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. Lots of data there. Again, it doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's going to go, but the data points to the home team taking down game two after they lose in game one. So I'm going to roll with the Celtics -9. Happily, we'll be wrong about that one. If I go 11-1 in the competition and that's my loss because the Heat won, by all means, I'll gladly lose my money. Player props. I'm going to fly through these. Marcus Smart, over 5.5 assists. He's got 11 assists in game one. He was very good in the first half. That's something that Miami's going to need to adjust if they want to get another win. He's averaging 8 assists per game in 4 games against the Miami Heat this season. He's averaging 9.6, almost 10 assists a game in 3 home games against Miami this season. And he's averaging almost 8 assists a game at home versus Miami over the last 2 seasons. Marcus Smart, not your conventional point guard, but he's a great guy at getting people involved. And I think he's going to understand the moment getting Tatum and Jaylen Brown involved as much as possible in this game, especially with the way that they finished. He's also went over in 14 out of 19 games at home this season when he plays 30-plus minutes. And I think this is a Marcus Smart game. It's a Marcus Smart series. They need his strength, his defense, his leadership. As much as Heat fans might not like the way that he plays and he flops and things like that, he's one of those guys that if he was in Miami, we would love him. And I just think his opportunity is going to be that he's going to be creating offense for himself. He's going to take shots, and I think Miami will live with that. But I think the assist game for him over 5.5 is a good bet. Looking at the Miami side, Bam Adebayo. He kills Boston. We kill that guy all the time. Heat fans, for whatever reason, they cannibalize Bam all the time. I'm going Bam over 17.5 points, over 2.5 assists. So 2 plays on Bam. He had 20 points in game one. He averages 24 points per game against the Boston Celtics this season. That's a 5-game sample size. Small sample, but 24 points per game for Bam Adebayo. That's pretty convincing. In terms of assists, he's went over in 4 out of 5 games against Boston this season. So combine those two stats, Bam is accounting for a lot of offense, whether he's putting in the basket or he's creating for other people against the Celtics, and that's a product of the way they defend him. And Bam is kind of the hub for us. He averages 3.8 assists per game against the Celtics this season, so that puts him over that 2.5. So I'm going Bam over 17.5 points, Bam over 2.5 assists. Definitely the way that I'm going. And if Bam has a big game tonight, you know Jimmy's going to show up. If we can get our role players, it gives you a chance. Definitely going to be tough, though. Couple assists from the Celtics side. Jason Tatum under 4.5 assists. I talk about Marcus Smart being kind of the hub of offense, creating offense. I think Tatum is going to have more of a scoring game in this one. His total is, I think, 29.5, if I remember, for the points. I'm going Tatum under 4.5 assists. He's been under in 4 out of 5 against Miami this season. He averages 3.6 assists per game against the Heat this season. I just think the way that we defend him, we're not having so far to send 2. And if we're not going to have to send 2, he's going to put up shots. And when he's putting up shots, he's not assisting. So under 4.5 assists for Jason Tatum. Next guy, this is where I think the adjustment comes in for Joe Mazzulla. Rob Williams, under 7.5 points, under 7.5 rebounds. I think Rob Williams is going to get squeezed out. I don't know if he's going to start tonight. Even if he does, I don't think his impact is being felt. I think Miami is scheming him out of the game. I think that his inability to sit on a guy like P.J. Tucker last year is going to make his effectiveness lower. He had 14 points in game 1, way over that number, right? All of it in the first half, all of it off of lobs, putbacks, things like that. And then Miami adjusted, and he was irrelevant. He's been under 7.5 and 8 out of 14 in the playoffs. I think that's going to trend to continue on tonight. He had 7 rebounds in game 1, so just under that total. He's been under 7.5 rebounds and 11 out of 14 in this playoffs. I don't think he's going to get enough minutes to go over those numbers, 7.5 points, 7 rebounds. I'm going under on both of those. Going over on Al Horford, 6.5 rebounds. I had this last game. I lost by the hook. He had 6 rebounds in game 1, but he's been over an 8 out of 14 in the playoffs. He has 3 games with 6 rebounds. So if he had 1 more rebound in those games, he's been over 5.5 and 11 out of 14 this playoffs. And if you have certain books, you can get Al Horford to lead the series in rebounding, total rebounds. Before game 1, I betted at 30-1. It's now 80-1. I think that's a good bet because I think it's an Al Horford series, not a Rob Williams series. And that's a great bet, that you're not really investing on a winner. You're investing on outcomes in terms of stats. 2 left. Kyle Lowry, over 3.5 assists. He's been over that 7 out of 12 this playoffs. Over 2.5 in 11 out of 12 games this playoffs. His role as a bench hub, he's going to create offense. He's going to move the ball. He does look for his shot a little bit more, which is great for the Miami Heat, not so much for our assist game. But I'm going to go over on the 3.5 assists. We're going to need a big Kyle Lowry series to get this done as he leads our bench units. And then my last one, Jaylen Brown. I toyed with Jason Tatum. He's at 29.5, but I'm going Jaylen Brown over 24.5. I think he has better matchups than Jason Tatum. I think we're going to, allow Jaylen to play in space. He turns the ball over. If you have a book where you can bet on turnovers, I would go Jaylen over. It's usually 2.5 turnovers. He's been doing that consistently against Miami because he can simply not dribble. But Jaylen Brown over 24.5 points, over in 7 out of 14 this playoffs, over 21.5 in this playoffs, 11 out of 14 times. So he's another one where he's been very close a lot of times. His role is pretty much guaranteed. I would go with Jaylen Brown over 24.5. So those are my 12 plays. You can join in the competition by going to Bettor Edge, clicking on the competitions tab, or going to bettoredge.com/5RSN-pick'em. You can get $20 when you use that link to sign up from 5 Reasons Sports. It's a beat Sean competition, meaning that if you just get more right than I do, then you win the pot. And we'll close up with 2 plays as we look ahead to tomorrow, Saturday night, Lakers-Nuggets, Game 3. Nuggets up 2-0. A lot of people subscribe to the zigzag theory. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. It's a tried and true method of betting NBA playoffs. Lakers -4.5, Lakers -2.5 in the first half. You can look at first quarter, probably -1, -1.5, something like that. Lakers in Game 3, they have to throw everything out there, unload the clip, and try to get back in this series to get it to 2-1. I would look at Lakers on Saturday night and try to get advantage of that early line. If you wait, I think that number is going to get bet up, and you're going to find yourself trying to bet a worse line Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. Obviously, Bettor Edge, you can set your own lines. That's one way you can get around that. And then finally, last but not least, a Major League Baseball play. I'm going to go with the Braves tonight. I'm looking at minus 140 on Bettor Edge. You can try to get better numbers by putting in a different line, seeing if the marketplace will take that. Join the competition. Thank you for tuning in. Happy Friday. Go Heat. And we'll be back later in the week, maybe over the weekend, potentially early next week with 5 Reasons Gambling Show. Make sure you check out all of our 5 Reasons content on the YouTube channel, on Twitter, on the pod feed, all those different things. Thanks for coming in, and go Heat.